Hi, these are your Jesse Mack one word or less comic reviews for April 2019. Kind of a fun thing. I got green screen technology, so now I can do whatever the heck I want, which is pretty cool. Assuming this is working, I didn't do any tests, as I'm dumb. Anyway, these are your comic reviews for April. Linchpin. Stayed. Distillation. Pleasant. Electric. Unbridled. Chilling. Melancholic. Release.
One word or less comic reviews. Pow!
Feels weird not to be doing anything with my hands, and it's kind of freaking me out. So, anyway, let me talk about these comics a little bit more in depth. The Curse Word Spring Special was real nice. It was good to get to fill in the backstory finally, and really get some amount of explanation for what the heck is going on with Margaret. So, it wasn't the greatest thing in the world, but it was definitely a story that I wanted to read, and I'm glad that it was done very well. And Clear Boy's a real weirdo, and I like that about him. Paper Girls. Paper Girls has been consistently enjoyable, but hasn't really blown me away for the most part in the last, 5 issues plus. This one, I like the direction they're going in, and it was nice to see some danger re-enter the fold in a pretty real way by the end of it. Man, when I don't have them in my hands, I'm just flying through it. I hope I can keep this going. If I could keep this like a 5-minute video, that'd be amazing. The SpiderMan life story continues to be continues to be very interesting. I very much enjoy this funky experiment that they're doing where Chip Zdarsky goes through Spider-Man history and retells his version of stories we already know in one kind of linear story that is different from what we already had, but similar enough. The clone stuff was more affecting than I thought it would be, which, my expectations were, well, I'm not going to say they were low, because the first issue was very good, but they were like, yeah, this is going to be a fun time. And it was like, oh no, like he is punching hearts. So, it was a good time. Unbeatable Squirrel Girl. I like Squirrel Girl. She is always amazing. And so far, this is the best thing I've read that has been touching War of the Realms, even though I'm enjoying War of the Realms. It's been nice. And I'm glad that Thor... that Thor story is finally getting there, considering it's been kind of teased off in the back. They've been building toward this for 3 years, maybe, Jason Aaron. So it's good to finally have it show up. But it turns out that no matter how epic your story is, I'd rather just see Squirrel Girl saying, no, shut up, because that's my favorite thing. And I like... it feels like as much as... Thor has been building toward War of the Realms, this particular issue of Unbeatable Squirrel Girl has been, they're pulling back the old stuff, which is weird, because you figure if this is a tie-in, people are going to be reading this comic for the first time with no context, and this, more than any issue of Squirrel Girl in recent past, is pulling from its own past. But I'm sure it still reads well, because it's Squirrel Girl. You don't really need context to enjoy a giant Ultron tree. Oh, East of West. I do like when the long stories start getting close to their end, but at the same time, East of West has been just quietly moving pieces into position for what feels like years, partly because it doesn't come out as often as I would like it to, and partly because they just it feels like the kind of story where they know where they need to end up, and they know what has to happen to get there, and they reach a certain point, and it's like, oh no, we still have to tell this story, and that one, and they're just doing bookkeeping, essentially. And we're finally getting to the point where stuff's gonna happen again. But this was a very nice villain of the past, and it was. I actually had this ranked lower at first, and then when I started going back through the review stuff and trying to really piece together, I was like, no, I gotta bump this up a few spots because it is so well told. And so I really enjoyed that one. Assassination, so enjoyable. I love me some Starks, I love me some Henderson. Not the explosive out of nowhere twist from the last issue, but it continues to be flippin' great. And much like Squirrel Girl, that's all I really want or need from a comic. It's nice when the things happen and I feel the feels, or it happens to hit certain notes, or you get like the conflict really going. But now if a book feels good, that's my favorite thing. And so far, 2 issues in, Assassination just it is Kyle Starks doing the work that I expect of him, and I love reading him monthly. As much as I love sitting down with one of the full-blown books and just eating the whole thing in like an hour, it is great. The anticipation, knowing that I got a little bit more Kyle Starks from me next month, is fantastic. The Walking Dead. Such a long-going series, and it's tough to keep momentum going when you're going this long, but they have really created some interesting scenarios in the story with the community, and it could go so many different ways in the next issue, and I don't know. It feels very unsafe, and Walking Dead is never better than when you're not sure, when you feel the danger. So I am very excited to see the next 2 issues or so. Ooh, Die. This is the end of the first story arc, and oh man, yeah, this comic's not coming up for air, I don't think, anytime soon. It is just going to be nothing but sadness and just sorrow and betrayal, and so it's really good, but at the same time, it is just harrowing to read, and it's I need some amount of joy at some point, but much like The Wicked and the Divine, Kieran Gillen is very good at telling a story that is just not going to end well for everyone, and so far Die has been a masterclass in that. It's easily one of my favorite books that I'm reading right now. Batman. This particular issue of Batman, because they had the other one where it was like the weird bachelor party thing, and it was like, this is zany and fun, but it's kind of a throwaway. It had like 1 or 2 moments where it's like, oh, okay, I see why this story is happening and why it's important, but for the most part, if you missed Batman 68, you could just keep going on with your life, and you would have missed nothing, although I can kind of say that about most of this Nightmares story, but it is building. It's building towards something. It's, with this finale, like, I understand the point, but it was a very, very deconstructed, is that the word I'm looking for? What did they call that? Not deconstructed, but the thing that the Ultimate Comics did in the old day, where Amazing Fantasy number 15 was like 6 pages, and Brian Michael Bendis told the same story across 6 issues, where it's just very bloated, but it was a fun experiment. It was neat to see a Batman story that relied less on the dialogue and more on the imagination and ingenuity of dreams. This one was back in form, where you have the Bat and the Cat playing off of each other, and then you have the villains in the sort of B story, and it's also an interesting dynamic there, and I'm looking forward to that dude waking up and getting back to the action, getting to see what's actually going to happen next after he gets out of this nightmare. Oh, and then we have, of course, The Wicked and the Divine, which I believe this is the 3rd last issue, and I get it. I don't get it. I don't know what that last page was all about. We'll find out in a month. But, yeah, much like East of West and curse words from this particular block, it got to tell a piece of history that filled in gaps that made the whole story shine brighter and explain some things, and we're wrapping it up. And The Wicked and the Divine has been just amazing stuff. It's I don't know if I'll ever read anything that Gillen does that I'll like more than Phonogram the Singles Club. That was just right there for me. But this is masterful. It's masterful stuff. All right. Hopefully all this worked and you're not just looking at a green blanket behind me, because that also is a possibility. But if all of the concepts that I have in my brain with what I want to do once I sit down to edit actually work out, I hope you enjoyed this cool look into the future of my dumb show. Now, I look like every other thing. Should I start saying that you should like and subscribe videos, or is that... I'm still not going to do that. It always feels pandering. It's like, if you know that that's a thing that you can do, if you like the video, you're going to hit the like button. And if you want to subscribe, if you like it enough that you want to see more, you're just going to subscribe. I don't have to be, hey, like and subscribe. Yeah, make sure you click the bell. It's like, I hate that as well. I'm going off on a weird tangenty rant. So I'm just going to get out of here. I'll see you next month, if not sooner, if I have some dumb thing pop up in my brain. But I'll see you for comics next week. Next month. I'm terrible at this.